Okay, imagine this. You are in a supermarket. Your child spots a chocolate bar. Now, they start throwing a tantrum for it. You say no. And just like that, boom, a total meltdown. Rolling on the floor, screaming and shouting. People around you are staring wide-eyed, and you are exhausted, just wanting to get home somehow. Most parents around the world know that scene. Parenting forums everywhere in Britain, Canada, Italy, America are full of such stories. To handle children's stubborn tantrums and crying, professions like sleep consultants and behavior coaches have emerged, and massive channels have even sprung up all over YouTube. Now let's look at Japan. This scene is almost non-existent there. That doesn't mean that Japanese children don't get upset or that they don't have any feelings. Also, don't think that the parents there are too strict or cruel. Actually, there is another, much calmer reason behind this, something that starts working long before the child starts to rebel. And once you see what it is, you'll want to try it tonight. But first I need to show you what's actually happening inside your kid's brain when they lose it, because it reframes everything. There's a Japanese word called ame. It doesn't have a perfect English translation. The closest is something like the comfort of knowing, without any doubt, that someone has your back. In a lot of Western parenting culture, there's a big push toward independence early. Sleep training, self-soothing, your own room from day one. And independence matters. I'm not saying it doesn't. But Japanese parents do something first. They build safety. Deep, unconditional, I will always come back for you safety. This is not just a matter of word of mouth or some imaginary emotion. There are absolutely irrefutable scientific and neurological reasons behind it. When a child truly feels safe, their nervous system is much calmer. We have a part of our brain called the amygdala that alerts us when we are afraid or in danger. Because of this safe environment, the amygdala is not always excited. And a child whose brain is not in panic mode does not have to scream and shout to make himself known, because they already feel heard. Most tantrums aren't really about the candy bar. They're a panic signal. Ame removes that panic before it even starts. But here's what surprised me. Safety alone isn't enough. There's a second piece, and this one is about why Japanese kids actually want to regulate themselves. In Japan, there's a concept called wa. It means group harmony. And Japanese kids learn this early, not through lectures, just through how life is explained to them. When you cry loudly in a restaurant, the people around you feel it too. When you scream, the whole atmosphere in the room changes. It is not presented to children as a shameful or guilty thing. It is simply explained in a very simple and natural way. Honestly and realistically. Your feelings are not limited to yourself. They also affect the people around you. Now compare that to how most kids in the world think about emotions. Purely internal. Something happening inside them that they can't control. Nobody ever told them their feelings affect the people they love. When you give a child that context, suddenly they have a reason to manage what they're feeling. Not because they'll get punished, but because they actually understand the impact. Psychologists call this other awareness. And it turns out it's one of the earliest foundations of emotional self-regulation. A motivation no reward chart or timeout corner can replicate. Okay, safe kid. Kid who understands feelings have consequences. But what do you actually say in the moment when things start falling apart? When a child's temper or crying starts to get out of hand, most parents quite naturally try to stop it. For example, "There's nothing wrong with you. Stop crying." Or, "It's not such a big deal." We do this because we love them. And it hurts us to see them break down like this. Japanese parents usually do the opposite. Instead of trying to suppress or stop the feeling, they give it a name. "You're frustrated because you wanted that toy, and I said no. That makes sense." And then they stay with it. No rushing, no distracting. Just sitting there, with the kid, in the feeling. The science behind it is this. When a child hears their feelings named out loud like this, Their brain's prefrontal cortex, which is primarily responsible for thinking and reasoning, starts to activate. And when that happens, it literally calms down the amygdala. The inner terror begins to subside, not because the feeling has disappeared, but because the brain has finally found a language to express it. Think of it like turning on a light in a dark room. The thing that scared you is still there, but now you can see it. And what you can see, you can handle. Japanese parents aren't raising kids who don't feel deeply. They're raising kids who can move through big feelings without getting swallowed whole. And then school happens, and the whole system locks it in from a completely different angle. In Japan, even children as young as 6 clean their own classrooms every day. They feed each other lunch. They take care of this shared space, not because a teacher is watching, or because they're afraid they'll get in trouble. Simply because that's the rule, and that's what has to be done. In most countries, cleaning is the janitor's job. Kids aren't expected to contribute like that. It seems like a small thing. It's not. By the time a Japanese child is in the early stages of elementary school, they begin to see themselves as someone who is contributing to society and the world around them, a responsible person, someone who is part of something bigger than themselves. And this self-identity shapes their behavior in a way that no set of rules could ever achieve. A kid who genuinely sees themselves as responsible doesn't throw themselves on the floor to get what they want, because that's not who they are in their own mind. Japan consistently ranks among the lowest in the world for classroom behavioral problems. Researchers don't point to punishment. They point to exactly this, a sense of belonging and responsibility that starts at home and gets reinforced quietly every day. So, let's go back to that supermarket scene. There is no single factor that makes Japanese babies less stubborn or cry instead. 4 factors work together. Safety, so that the brain is not always alert or alert to danger. Context, so that the meaning of feelings is not limited to, I want it now. Language, so that intense emotions do not turn into chaos. And self-identity, so that the child knows who he or she really is before any difficult situation arises. You don't have to move to Tokyo to try any of these methods. Start with one thing. Tonight, when your kid starts to spiral before you try to stop it, just name it. You're really disappointed right now, aren't you? Give it 30 seconds, don't fix it. Just name it. It won't work every time. Kids are kids, but over time, it compounds. And that's kind of the whole point. If this made you think differently, subscribe, because next week, we're going deeper into something else that Japan quietly gets right, that most of the world has completely missed. See you then.